Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's members only live stream. अगर आप इस स्ट्रीम को देख पा रहे हैं, इसका मतलब चैनल के मेंबर हैं और इस समय चैट कर पा रहे हैं। और अगर आप इस स्ट्रीम को बाद में देख रहे हैं, इसका मतलब है कि आप मेंबर नहीं हैं, क्योंकि ये स्ट्रीम रिकॉर्ड होने के बाद पब्लिक कर दी जाती है। शायद आज की लाइव स्ट्रीम थोड़ी लंबी नहीं होगी, क्योंकि मैं एक काम से ब्रेक लेके स्ट्रीम कर रहा हूँ। मैं कुछ लिख रहा था, बट दैट्स ओके। अगर जितने सवाल हैं, उन सबका जवाब मैं दे पाऊँगा, तो दे दूँगा। पर मोर बेसिकली मैंने पिछले हफ्ते कोई मुझे वैसे कोई स्ट्रीम पे कोई कमेंट दिख नहीं रहा है। सो अगर आप कमेंट कर नहीं पा रहे हैं या कर रहे हैं, मुझे पता नहीं क्या प्रॉब्लम हो रही है, पर मेंबर्स कमेंट कर सकते हैं। सो पिछले हफ्ते मैंने बात की थी एक इंसिडेंट के बारे में, जिसमें मैंने अपने पिताजी से बात की और आई आस्क्ड हिम, हाय सुमाया, हाय, इट इज़ नाइस टू सी यू हियर, हाय। मैंने अपने पिताजी से बात की और उनसे पूछा था कि उनको कितनी फ्रीक्वेंटली लेटर्स मिलते हैं। एंड ही सेड कि वो हफ्ते में 2-3 लेटर मिलते थे, और ऑन अ बिज़ी वीक मे बी मोर देन दैट आल्सो। पर लेटर राइटिंग और हम लोग इस समय जैसे कम्युनिकेट करते हैं, उसमें एक बड़ा फ़र्क ये है कि अ, इट टेक्स टाइम टू राइट अ लेटर। It takes time for the letter to get from one place to another. And so, when you're writing the letter, you will probably not waste the time or the space. You will try to put everything in the letter. You will try to put everything important in the letter, but you will also be careful enough to make sure that you don't put everything in the letter, because the amount of space available to you is limited, the amount of time available to you is limited, and the amount of time that person to whom you're sending the letter they have is also limited. So letter writing is kind of bracketed by this idea of limitations. Compare that to the messaging that we do today, where all the messages are instantaneous. Like, you don't have to wait at all, you don't have to worry about space. You can write messages that are as short as they need to be or as long as they need to be, and your message can get to the person who you are thinking of sending it to in a moment, practically instantly. So what happens as a result of it? What happens is that, oh, hi, Long John Silver, thank you for being here. Welcome, welcome. So what happens as a result of it is that when you are sending a letter to someone, you worry about limitations. But when you're sending a modern text-based message, etc., to someone, you don't worry about limitations at all. There are no limitations. So what happens as a result of this is that the amount of meaning that a letter has is the same. Like, there is a difference between a random sentence you say to someone and a letter that you send to them. There is a qualitative difference between them. A letter is summarized important events, collected, and what's the word? What's the word we use these days? Where where you consciously make the decision to include something or not. Uh, curation, yes. A letter is a summary of curated stuff that you decide to put in something so that it becomes more valuable. A letter is defined not only by what is contained in it, but what was left out of it. Think about modern messaging. Nothing is left out. You know everything, you understand everything, and you you have access to things about your friend's life that you could honestly do without. So the value any single message has is the same, because it took very little effort and it took very little time to compose it or send it. And because we can send anything to anyone at any time, we do send anything to anyone at any time. There is no sense of proportionality. There is no sense about what is good to include, what is not good to include. I mean, there are some parameters, but by and large, the kind of limitations that decided the nature of a letter, those are gone, right? So we have flattened meaning. Earlier, meaning was like, this is more important, this is less important, this is very important, this is not at all important and not even worth mentioning. Now it is all flat. Everything is equally important or unimportant. So meaning, as far as communications are concerned, has been flattened, so that the entire landscape of things that you might find interesting in someone else's life, or you might think is interesting enough in your own life, something to write home about, that is flat. And this is what has been on my mind. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Maybe I'll add to this later on and I'll make it a podcast episode. But yeah, Long John Silver, hello. Sumaya, hello. SRR, hi. Saurabh Sahu, hello. Gogol, hello. Saurabh Sahu says, आज का diet क्या था sir? Diet? What diet? What are you asking? Topic of the stream. Sumana says, I was including my unit test marks in those letters. Yeah, yeah, even I did. My dad was posted in a faraway place in the country, government service, and I used to send him letters where I used to send him test results. And I used to say that I'm sorry I got this much and I'm going to do better in the next test. And also, this boy said this to me in school, and I said this to that boy in school. This friend of mine invited me to that thing, and it was and there were illustrations where I was drawing myself as a small crying boy in the corner, and my dad in the faraway place coming towards me in a train and stuff. I used to do all of that. Golu says, I'm actually first today. Golu, तेरे से पहले 7 लोग हैं, but it's okay, you're first. Deep and John says, hi Deep and John. Saurabh says, आज क्या खाना खाया सर? ये क्या सवाल है भाई? क्या करोगे जान के आज क्या खाना खाया? आज खाया था, I don't even remember क्या खाया था. I don't like, just it was regular food. So what have you guys been up to? क्या चल रहा है आजकल? वैसे मैंने पढ़ना शुरू किया ग्रेग बेयर का नॉवल इयॉन, और मैंने फर्स्ट चीज़ जो मैंने नोटिस की इज़ दैट इट इज़ वेरी डिफरेंट फ्रॉम रामा टू में, इफ़ यू गाइस रिमेंबर आई वाज सेइंग कि अ, आधी किताब बीत गई, पॉइंट पे अब तक पहुंचा नहीं. लाइक द प्रेमिस ऑफ द बुक इज दैट अ स्पेसशिप इज कमिंग टुवर्ड्स अर्थ एंड पीपल ऑफ अर्थ आर गोइंग टू मीट इट. Half the book, more than, I think, practically about half the book was over and nothing had happened on that front. In this book, the very first sentence, like the book's premise is a strange asteroid is finding itself in orbit around Earth. The very first sentence, the very first paragraph, we've already shown that we've already gotten to that point, and then it takes like 2 chapters for all the people to unite and get there, and action. It just jumps into action straight away. So that's a relief. I've yet to get beyond that point, क्योंकि मैं लिखने में भी उतना ही टाइम स्पेंड कर रहा हूँ जितना कि पढ़ने में, and I'm feeling very good about it. But it's a better book than Rama 2, I think, at least in that respect. Mm, Deep and John says, that means you are creative from back then. Well, if you want to call that creative, sure. I think every child is creative. We beat the creativity out of the child with by focusing them on other tasks, but every child by default is creative. That is how we learn. Layman says, strangers get to know conversation. I could not help but hear. I am Chatterjee. Hey, I am Banerjee. Saurabh, Saurabh has retracted message. Sumana says, I'm reading Lesson in Chemistry. It is such a fun novel. Must read for feminists. Lesson in Chemistry is a novel. I thought it was a manual. Okay. Simple Guy says, I'm trying to grow my channel. As per your experience initially, do we need to create content for niche audience and then expand the scope? Simple Guy, it's more so I don't see it as per need. If you want a very simple answer, I can give it to you right now, and you can do it also, and your channel will grow also. It's not hard. You need to experiment with a bunch of things that you like doing, and you need to find an audience that enjoys the things that you're putting out. And once you have found that audience, you need to look at which video is doing better and then keep doing that. I mean, look at Logical I am ke channel pe jao. He has been doing debunks are doing fantastic on his channel, so he's doing more debunks, and it is growing fast. It's growing really fast. My personal way of doing things is that I came to the conclusion long ago that on the internet you can be one of two types of creators. You can either be someone, like your content can be discovered by people two ways. Either they search for something on Google and they find your content, or they know you and they literally come to your channel to watch what you put out. I have always gone for the second type of audience, because the problem with the Google audience, and this is going back to the days of blogs also, back in the early 2000s. If you are putting out content that is if you're putting out content that people are finding through search, so what happens? So suppose you're someone who is writing about science fiction, right? People search for science fiction related keywords, they find your blog, they come to that page, they read, and they go away. And they are not even aware what the name of your website was, or your name was, or the URL was. They found it through search and they went away. Now you can get a lot of traffic like this, but at some point you need to start worrying about converting these audience to members. So in the days of blogs, there used to be an email newsletter box. Ki, hey, you liked my content, subscribe by the RSS link or the newsletter so that the next time I post something, you get it. Most people won't subscribe, but it's your funnel, right? Your top level of your funnel, the broadest part, is the search traffic. The second part is members, and the third part is maybe you want to sell them something. So if you are starting a YouTube channel, you have to choose what kind of YouTube channel it is going to be. Are you going to be someone who makes content about a topic which people will be able to find through search? क्योंकि वैसे चैनल हैं बहुत सारे जो टॉपिक्स पे फोकस करते हैं. पर आई थिंक अ बेटर अप्रोच इज ग्रोइंग अ कम्युनिटी. लाइक दिस चैनल राइट नाउ यहाँ पे 12 लोग हैं और मुझे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. सिर्फ 12 लोग हैं, पेइंग मेंबर्स हैं ये 12 लोग वो नहीं है जिन्होंने search में type किया I want to see a live stream. They came here willingly after noticing that I am live and they have a personal relationship with me, which I really appreciate. And they came here to see what I'm talking about. My main public live stream also. It's not a channel. This is not a channel with a large amount of subscribers, but uh, it has more impact on a personal level than my other channel also, because it has got direct relationships. So if you are starting a YouTube channel, uh, focus on a niche audience, but also build a niche audience. Build your own community of people who are interested in what you have to say, people who are interested in your hobbies, your interest, your personality, the things that you believe in, etc. And then you will grow there. अगर लाखों करोड़ों फॉलोअर नहीं होते ना, चलेगा. पर अगर सिर्फ हजार लोग हैं तुम्हारे फॉलोअर जो कि तुम्हारे काम को जेन्युइनली पसंद करते हैं, दैट इज बेटर देन लाखों करोड़ों. इट्स कॉल्ड द थियरी ऑफ 1000 ट्रू फैंस. इसका एक्चुअली पेट्रियन का जो फाउंडर है ना, जैक कॉन्टी, ही हैड गिवन अ टॉक वंस एंड ही हैड सेड कि जब मैं किसी से कहता हूँ कि मुझे फुटबॉल खेलना अच्छा लगता है, तो मुझे कोई नहीं कहता आई होप यू मेक इट वन डे, बिकॉज एवरीवन अंडरस्टैंड्स इट्स अ स्पोर्ट. इवन इफ यू डोंट बिकम अ फुटबॉल स्टार, you can still be a footballer, you can still be a football player. But when you say I want to be a writer or a singer or a drummer, people say I hope you make it one day. Nobody says yeah, you can just sing at your home and make yourself happy. So हमारे कल्चर में एक बहुत बड़ा एक इल्यूजन आ गया है कि अनलेस यू बिकम समवन विथ मिलियंस ऑफ फॉलोअर्स, इट्स नॉट वर्थ इट. But there is a creative middle class now. There's a class of people who are middle income but who put out creative stuff. Patreon is full of them. Patreon has helped a lot of people make their careers out of it. मैंने खुद Patreon उसी लिए शुरू किया था कि मैं लिखूं और मेरा मतलब क्रिएटिव काम वगैरह लोगों के सामने आए. But that did not take off, so I eventually got into this. But that dream is not gone at all. So I still think that a better way to grow online in a sustainable way. अगर तुमको आज 1 करोड़ सब्सक्राइबर मिल जाते हैं ना, तुमको कल पता भी नहीं होगा मैं क्या करूँ. I have been someone who has lakhos subscribers on Instagram. It is not as easy as it seems. It is a burden where you have to worry about repeatedly, constantly posting high view count wala content, and you lose track of everything else because of it. One of the reasons I left Instagram was that kind of drainage of mental, emotional energy also. सो अगेन मैं बहुत बड़ा मतलब बहुत ज़्यादा बोल गया, पर मैं सिंपल आंसर अगर चाहते हो तो मैं रिकमेंड करूँगा, अपना खुद का कम्युनिटी बनाने की कोशिश करो, इंस्टेड ऑफ ग्रोइंग योर चैनल बाय कंटेंट दैट इज़ ट्रेंडिंग. सॉरी अबाउट दैट, बहुत लंबा हो गया. लॉन्ग जॉन सिल्वर, थैंक यू फॉर द 200 रुपीज़. यू आर डूइंग ग्रेट वर्क. यू कैन टेक शॉर्टकट्स टू ग्रो योर चैनल, बट यू रिमेन ट्रू टू योर बिलीव, सो आई अप्रिशिएट योर वर्क. थैंक यू लॉन्ग जॉन सिल्वर. गूगल, थैंक यू फॉर द 40 रुपीज़, रियली अप्रिशिएट इट. सौरभ साहू सेज, आप सर जो बोल रहे थे, आप जो अपना ड्रीम बुक लिख रहे हैं, वह कब तक सर पूरा हो जाएगा? और आपका अगर कोई बुक मुझे पढ़ना है तो किससे मैं स्टार्ट करूं? सौरभ, अभी तक तो कुछ लिखा नहीं है. मैंने कुछ कॉमिक्स लिखी हैं. आप दहक को पढ़ सकते हो, आप रावणायन को पढ़ सकते हो. उसके लिंक आपको मेरे अगर आप विमो.इन पे जाओगे, अबाउट सेक्शन पे क्लिक करोगे, वहाँ पे मिल जाएंगे. पर जो किताब मैं लिख रहा हूँ वो कब खत्म होगा पता नहीं। इस समय मैं फुल स्पीड से लिख रहा हूँ एंड आई थिंक मेरे पास 3-4 महीने का मैंने अपने आप को टाइम फ्रेम दिया है। उतने में कम से कम फर्स्ट ड्राफ्ट तो रेडी हो जाना चाहिए और उसके बाद मैं थोड़ा रीच आउट करूँगा लोगों को, पूछूँगा कि इसको कैसे पब्लिश करना है, उसमें कुछ और टाइम लगेगा। तो अगर मैं किताब लिखता हूँ तो कुछ साल तक तो वेट करना पड़ेगा अभी आपको, पर वो मेरा बचपन का सपना है और मैं उसको पूरी करने की बहुत कोशिश कर रहा हूँ। Um, The Great Gatsby says poetry content on atheism. I'm not a poet at all. I wouldn't even know where to start. Maybe some people can. SRR says I wrote only one letter to my grandmother. We used to go to STD booth once a month to speak with relatives. That was fun looking at time panel. I also remember this. Yeah. I used to go to the STD booth to talk to people, my relatives in the next town, in fact, and sometimes with my father who was in another state. Hmm. Great Gatsby says FM feminism. What? I don't know what that means. Sumana says it's about a woman scientist in 1950s. Okay, okay. Deep and John says, how do you finish your work? As in, start a lot of ideas and then don't follow through and finish it. Uh, as in, I start a lot of ideas and then don't follow through and finish it. Deep, don't feel like you have to finish an idea when you start it. It's okay. Like, every creative person has unfinished projects lying in a cupboard somewhere. So if you want to finish something, decide that you want to finish it and then finish it. It's hard work. There is no easy way around it. I cannot give you a recipe using which you will be able to finish the things that you can't finish. Maybe the idea is not good enough. Maybe it won't stay with you long enough for you to finish it. Or maybe the idea is good enough and and you should put in the work and the effort and the energy that it requires to finish it. I'll tell you one thing. I used to be very bad at finishing things when I was younger. As I got older, it got easier. But I think in the social media age, one of the biggest hindrances in the path of finishing things is also, like हमारा दिमाग focus के लिए अब बचा ही नहीं है कुछ energy. So when I stopped using Instagram, it really helped. When I stopped using Facebook, it really helped. When I stopped using Twitter, it helped a little more. Instagram छोड़ने के बाद मैं बहुत ही ज़्यादा free feel कर रहा हूँ, and I'm able to put in focused work for hours and hours and hours, and that's a good thing. So maybe if that is one of the problems you have, maybe do something about it. Hello, hello. How's you? Hi, Ranjit. Hello. Saurabh says, I'm good, Ranjit. Thank you for asking. Saurabh says, सर आपके पास ब्रांड प्रमोशन आता है? इंस्टाग्राम पे आता था, यूट्यूब पे अब तक आया नहीं है। इंस्टाग्राम पे जो आता था वो बहुत अजीब होता था। लाइक मुझे इंस्टाग्राम पे आमतौर पे मुझे कोई भी बोलता था ना हमारा प्रोडक्ट प्रमोट करो, मुझे बताओ एक रील का कितना लोगे? एक इंस्टाग्राम स्टोरी का कितना लोगे? तो मैं बोलता, "अरे भाई तुम्हारा प्रोडक्ट क्या है ये तो बताओ पहले।" फिर वो बोलते थे कि हाँ, अपना फ़ोन नंबर दीजिए। मैं बोलूँगा मैं फ़ोन नंबर देने की जगह मुझे ईमेल ही कर दो, बताओ तुम्हारा प्रोडक्ट क्या है? या तो कोई रिस्पॉन्ड नहीं करता था बिकॉज़ आई डोंट वांट टू प्रमोट स्टफ इंडिस्क्रिमिनेटली। मैं प्रमोट सिर्फ़ इसलिए नहीं करूँगा क्योंकि मुझे कोई पैसे दे रहा है। मैं प्रमोट करूँगा अगर वो चीज़ मेरे ऑडियंस के काम आएगी या उनके लिए अच्छी है और वो चीज़ एथिकल है। राइट? सो मेरा तो ज़्यादातर ब्रांड प्रमोशन इंक्वायरी उसी स्टेज पे रुक जाता था और आज तक एक भी पास नहीं हुआ। और कभी-कभार अगर कोई बताता था कि प्रोडक्ट क्या है, तो उनकी बातों से ये साफ हो जाता था कि उनको पता ही नहीं कि मैं किस टाइप का कंटेंट क्रिएटर हूँ। कोई बोलता था मेकअप प्रोडक्ट, अबे मैं क्या क्या मेकअप करूँगा मैं और किस वीडियो में मेकअप करते हुए लोगों को एथिइज़्म और ब्राह्मणवाद के बारे में बताऊँगा। सो ब्राह्मणवाद वो बहुत वियर्ड था। सो नहीं, इंस्टाग्राम पे कभी हुआ नहीं। यूट्यूब पे होगा तो हो सकता है किसी पब्लिशर, किसी बुक कंपनी, किसी ई-बुक या ऑडियो बुक कंपनी इसके साथ ऐसा कुछ हो पाए। बट विल सी। Deep and John says, Jack Conti is an amazing musician, by the way. Yes, he is. He and his entire band, including his wife Natalie, do amazing work. FM Finance Minister. Long John Silver says, Vimoh bhai, you have personality of good teacher or a professor. Did you ever consider teaching as a profession? No, sir, I never did. Because teaching as a profession not only comes with the joy of teaching, but also comes with a lot of paperwork. Exam lena, exam ka paper check karna, वगैरह वगैरह. जो I don't have the heart to do it. I do not think children should be judged on that basis. Some of the best teachers in my life have people who have not cared about the exam at all. We used to have a professor in college who used to say, पहले दिन आके बोला मैं सबको पास कर दूंगा टेंशन मत लो जिसको क्लास में आना है आओ जिसको क्लास में नहीं आना मत आओ आई वुड प्रिफर दैट जिसको क्लास में आने का मन है वो आए। मैं नहीं चाहता कि कोई यहाँ पे अपने अनबने ढंग से बैठे, एग्ज़ाम के टाइम पे पास हो जाओगे, चिंता मत करो। एंड उनकी क्लास में सबसे ज़्यादा भीड़ होती थी बिकॉज़ पीपल यूज्ड टू कम विथ सच अ फ्री माइंड। पीपल यूज्ड टू कम विथ लाइक यू ओके आज मज़ा आएगा सर, कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग बातें करेंगे, इंटरेस्टिंग तरीके से चीज़ों को समझाएँगे। He unfortunately passed away as a result of a road accident. He was there. Then there was another teacher who was also like, my exam giver. The best teachers are those who put your mind at ease in the beginning itself. And the worst teachers are those who teach using fear. I've had those also. Throughout my school life and my college life also, कॉलेज लाइफ पे तो थोड़ी हेकड़ी आ गई थी, तब हमको दबाना इतना मुश्किल इतना आसान नहीं था। बट या गोलू सेज द चैनल का प्रोफाइल पिक हैज़ चेंज्ड फ्रॉम ब्लू टू इंसान। अच्छा, हाँ, थोड़ा बदल गया था। टेंशन मतलब कोई बोला कि बहुत ज़्यादा बदल रहे हो, कन्फ्यूज़न हो रहा है, तो अभी के लिए मैं यही रख रहा हूँ, बदल नहीं रहा। द ग्रेट गैट्सबी सेज सॉरी टाइपिंग व्हाइल ड्राइविंग, कैन यू सजेस्ट पोएट्री, सैटायर कंटेंट बाय सम अदर आर्टिस्ट ऑन एथिज्म इफ देयर आर एनी? Satire? I don't know. I mean, a lot of atheism content is satirical, right? But poetry, I cannot. I don't know. I mean, I was on the line. No, not the line. What was it? Hold on, I'll show you. I was on a YouTube channel, an American YouTube channel, a few months ago. Host of the show, the host of the show was has his own YouTube channel, and he does a lot of satirical stuff. Let me just tell you the name of that channel. Hold on. John the Skeptic. Yeah, the channel is Skeptic. Skeptic. He's a British guy in America who does some satirical content, but it's your usual atheism fare. If you want it, you can check it out. Sumana says, would love to watch your makeup video. Please, no. Golu says, GRWM live stream, let's go. GRWM? What's GRWM? Golu, you know how I feel about acronyms. जुआनजू सेज मैं सिर्फ 19 मिनट्स लेट हूँ। अरे क्लासरूम नहीं है रे। पास कर दूंगा, डोंट वरी। Arif Siddiqui says, hello, Vimoh. We are not inculcating civic sense in us, and education also seems to not be working, be it about driving on roads or pollution. Yes, and I think ये मैंने पहले इस बारे में बात की है, इसके पीछे एक बड़ा कारण तो कास्ट सिस्टम है, जो हमें समाज को अपने रूप में देखने की अनुमति नहीं देता। ये हमारा घर है, ये हमारा कल्चर, ये हमारा मोहल्ला है, वो उनका घर है, वो उनका मोहल्ला। हम भारत को एक देश कहते हैं, जब हम पर कोई आक्रामक होता है तब। पर जब आम ज़िंदगी की बात आती है, हम सब अपने आप को किसी कम्युनिटी, किसी ग्रुप, किसी धर्म का हिस्सा मानते हैं। हमारा वो जो नेशनलिस्टिक सेंटिमेंट है, ये दिखावे तक सीमित रहता है और इसीलिए हमारे अंदर सिविक सेंस नहीं जाग पाती, क्योंकि सिविक सेंस है क्या? हमारी सिविक एमेनिटी, हमारा जो सिविक सिस्टम है, उसके प्रति लॉयल्टी, उसके प्रति प्यार, है ना? वो तो होगा ही नहीं जब तक हम एक-दूसरे को हम अपने आप को इस कम्युनिटी का, उस कम्युनिटी का बोलते रहेंगे तब तक। सौरभ सेज ओशो के बारे में आपका क्या व्यू है सर? ओशो के बारे में मेरा कोई व्यू नहीं है सर। ओशो वाज़ आई थिंक आज के ज़माने में ओशो एक और बाबा ही है और क्या है। Sumana says on one of the Instagram parenting pages, I saw a query where a parent was disappointed their 4.5-year-old child did not qualify for some Olympiad. What the fuck? Such people do not deserve kids. Yeah. People try to fulfill their own childhood dreams using their children, and I think that's very unfair. Let the child grow and find their own feet and find their own wings and fly to wherever they want to. Your job as a parent to enable the child to pursue those things. But नहीं, मेरा बेटा इंजीनियर बनेगा। जुआन says, Vimoh, open a new school, subscribers online, course ले लेंगे। Adesh Rohan Mishra says, rule number 1, don't type while driving. Oh, rule number 001. So apparently the total number of rules is 999. The total number of potential rules is 999. Sumana says, get ready with me. Get ready with me for what? दोस्तों आज हम मंदिर नहीं जा रहे हैं, घर पे बैठेंगे, कुछ नहीं करेंगे। ये कुछ चीज़ें मुझे भेजी गई हैं पैसों के बदले, इनको अपने फेस पे मलता हूँ और आपसे बात करता हूँ कि एथिज़्म का असली डेफिनिशन क्या है। Golu says, "Get ready with me." GRW. Oh, get ready with me. Okay, okay, okay. Got it, got it. Simple Guy says the Wild Robot new animated movie is amazing. Okay, I'll check it out at some point. I think I've seen mixed reviews. अब तक कोई मतलब खास ऐसा नहीं है कि everyone has been loving the movie or something. But मैं वैसे भी वीडियोस थोड़े कम ही देख रहा हूँ आज. जब मैं लिख रहा होता हूँ ना, तो एक चीज़ मैं करता हूँ कि I don't watch a variety of things. I choose one show एंड आई मेक इट पार्ट ऑफ द रूटीन कि हर रोज़ काम-धाम खत्म करने के बाद रात को सोने से पहले इसका एक एपिसोड देखूँगा और सो जाऊँगा. एंड राइट नाउ दैट शो फॉर मी इज़ टारगेट SG-1. इट्स अ 90s का साइंस फिक्शन सीरीज़. वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग, वेरी fascinating, great world building, but very problematic in other ways also. So, mixed bag. I'm quite liking it. I'm more looking forward to the series that come after this. Unfortunately, SG-1 के 10 या 11 सीज़न हैं और उसके बाद जो सी शोज़ हैं, वो ज़्यादा इंटरेस्टिंग लगेंगे मुझे लगता है. We'll see. SRR says, "Miracles are so unlikely, impossible. If you do encounter something that is unexplainable at any base of knowledge, yet happened on Earth, it is more likely that you discovered a new law of physics." Yeah. Although miracles का definition सोच के देखो ना. मिरेकल का डेफिनेशन है वो चीज़ जिसका होना बहुत ज़्यादा अनलाइकली है, पर जो फिर भी हो गई है. सो दैट्स व्हाट आई थिंक वी डिस्क्राइब एज़ अ मिरेकल. Watched this on Star Talk. What is? Watched what on Star Talk? Golu says, nothing beats One Piece in world building. Acha, okay. Juanju, have you watched Dune? I watched it recently and loved it. Yes, I've seen Dune Part 1 and Part 2. I've not read the books. I intend to get to them sometime. एनीवे कमेंट्स आने बंद हो गए तो मैं थोड़ी देर तक फिर से अपने मन की बात करूँगा। मैंने अपने फ़ोन से अब सारे ऐप हटा दिए हैं। सारे ऐप मतलब सारे ऐसे ऐप जो बिल्कुल भी अटेंशन लेते थे। इंस्टाग्राम वाज़ गॉन। आई एम थिंकिंग ऑफ रिमूविंग यूट्यूब ऑल्सो बिकॉज़ अगर कोई वीडियो भेजता है तो वेब ब्राउज़र पे देख लूँगा और मैं यूट्यूब वगैरह डेस्कटॉप पे ही देखता हूँ, फ़ोन पे कम ही देखता हूँ। एक ही कारण है जिसकी वजह से यूट्यूब ऐप है और वो ये है कि सपोज एट सम पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम आई हैव टू वॉच समथिंग दैट समवन सेंड्स वेरी क्विकली सो आई कैन डू दैट बट आई एम नॉट यूजिंग द यूट्यूब ऐप ऑन माई फोन एट ऑल except to upload short videos, shorts, 60-second videos. But I'm thinking I'm going to stop posting those also. मैं लंबा वीडियो ही डालूंगा अब. यूट्यूब ऐप का एक और एडवांटेज है लाइव स्ट्रीम कर सकना, पर मैं चूंकि लाइव स्ट्रीम एक ही जगह से करता हूँ, तो उसका भी कुछ खास यूटिलिटी नहीं है. सो मैं सोच रहा हूँ यूट्यूब ऐप हटा दूंगा. यूट्यूब स्टूडियो ऐप भी हटा दूंगा. यूट्यूब का सारा यूजेज डेस्कटॉप से करूंगा और फ़ोन का इस्तेमाल करूंगा ईमेल के लिए और मैसेजिंग ऐप्स के लिए, जो कि ज़रूरी है दोस्तों के साथ टच में रहने के लिए. When you get rid of social media, you find out a lot of things about the people who are in touch with you, because the ones who remain in touch with you are putting in the effort. And ज़्यादातर लोग तो बस ऐसे ही आई टॉक्ड अबाउट द मैसेजिंग राइट, द फ्लैटनिंग ऑफ मीनिंग. कई लोग तुमको मैसेज करते इंस्टाग्राम पे, मुझे याद है लोग मैसेज करते थे विदाउट एनी थॉट. लाइक somebody will message a link और एंड उसके नीचे लिखा होगा एक वर्ड डिबंक. लाइक आई एम अ चैट बॉट, लाइक आई एम चैट जीपीटी. मतलब ये नहीं, हेलो आई फाउंड दिस वीडियो, आई थिंक दिस इज इन अलाइनमेंट विद द काइंड ऑफ कंटेंट यू मेक, आई वुड लव टू हियर योर ओपिनियन अबाउट इट, प्लीज इफ यू हैव टाइम प्लीज ट्राई टू डिबंक इट. वीडियो भेजा, उसके नीचे लिख दिया डिबंक, जैसे मैं एक सर्च इंजिन हूँ. सो फॉर्चुनेटली उस सब से तो मुक्ति मिल गई है. जुआन जो सेज विमोह की मन की बात, मंकी बैट, half monkey, half bat. SRR says miracles wala thing watched on Star Talk. Okay. Juanju says Modi ji sad. Golu says, by the way, One Piece is on a hiatus now for 6 months. Watch One Piece now, everyone. Okay. Golu One Piece का evangelist है, वो सबको One Piece देखने के लिए बोलता रहता है. Ranjit says YouTube on phone is useful during uneventful travel though. Yeah, I have books. इफ आई सी हियर्स द थिंग, मैंने बहुत मेहनत करके अपने ब्रेन को फ्री किया है फॉर द नीड ऑफ मोबाइल डोपामीन. इफ आई एम ऑन अ लॉन्ग ट्रिप एंड आई गेट बैक इनटू वाचिंग शॉर्ट वीडियोस और समथिंग, आई एम गेटिंग बैक इनटू दैट, एंड व्हेन आई माय ट्रिप एंड्स एंड आई रिटर्न होम, इट विल स्टिक टू मी. सो मुझे उस हैबिट को पूरी तरह से छोड़ना है. छोड़ चुका हूं मैं और मैं उसको वापस नहीं पकड़ने वाला. इफ आई एम गोइंग ऑन अ लॉन्ग ट्रिप, आई वुड लिसन टू अ पॉडकास्ट और आई विल रीड अ बुक. Long form content is going to do your brain much is going to do your brain good compared to disposable content that you forget the moment it ends. That is the message that I want to, absorb into my life, and also to whatever extent possible give you guys. Simple guy says, "Do you like being minimalist?" I saw some Japanese people who have just 57 possessions. मुझे मैंने पहले पढ़ा 57 professions. How the fuck is that minimalist? 57 possessions. I think you have applied minimalism for your social media. Do you use 11 Labs Reader app which reads any PDF? No, I like reading. Audio doesn't do very well for me. Like for non-fiction, for fiction, I like audio drama format, which is like multiple character voices, sound effects, music, everything, like proper movie experience, right? But for fiction, this audiobooks don't work for me. For non-fiction, I can listen to them. Sorry, मैं उल्टा बोल गया था पहले. For non-fiction, audiobooks are great. For fiction, I need to read letters with my eyes by holding a book in my hands. I think that is the way I have grown up reading it. Maybe it works differently for other people, but this is how I do it. As for minimalism, I see the thing is my problem with label. You guys know my problem with labels, right? Someone will come and say, "Are you a communist?" And if you say yes, you are now in the same bracket as every communist who has ever lived. Are you a leftist? You are now in a folder with every person who identifies as being on the left, even though you might have massive disagreements with some of them. मुझे एथिस्ट लेबल से प्रॉब्लम भी होने लगी है आजकल, क्योंकि लोग कहते हो तुम एथिस्ट हो मतलब तुम उस फलाने उल्लू के पट्टे के साथ एग्री करते होगे। क्यों? मैं उसको जानता भी नहीं हूँ, और जब जानता हूँ तो मुझे उल्टियाँ आती है। सो आई I guess I try to minimize the impact of technology on my life, given that it gets in the way of work. Whether or not that makes me quote unquote minimalist is a different matter. SRR says, I never used Instagram, deleted Facebook 4 years back. I only have Twitter account. Going to delete that. Yeah, definitely delete Twitter. Twitter is garbage. It is not good for your head. It is not good for your heart. It is not good for anything except making Elon Musk rich. Long John Silver says, sir, एक sci-fi fantasy dystopia book जो recently पढ़ा was Well Built City trilogy. Time मिले और कुछ different try करना हो तो पढ़ना आप. It is different. Okay, I'll try. It's called was Well Built City. Let me check it out. Well Built City. अरे ये टैम्पा कहाँ से आ गया? Well Built City टैम्पा. ये गूगल भी अचानक से खुद ही ऐड कर रहा है. हाँ, Well Built City trilogy series by Jeffrey Ford. Okay. Physiognomy, Memoranda, The Beyond. Okay, I'll try it out. इनफैक्ट मेरे पास एक किताब थी. इट्स कॉल्ड शिप ऑफ मैजिक बाय रॉबिन हॉब. ये किताब मैंने एक लड़की को इम्प्रेस करने के लिए बहुत साल पहले खरीदी थी, और इसको मैंने पढ़ा नहीं था. अभी रिसेंटली मैंने उसको फिर से निकाला, धूल वूल झाड़ी, और मैंने टाइप किया इसका नाम ताकि थोड़ी रिसर्च कर सकूं, और पता चला दिस इज पार्ट 4 ऑफ लॉन्गर सीरीज. द लॉन्गर सीरीज दैट इज 16 बुक्स. और इसका जो पार्ट 1 है वो मैंने आज ऑर्डर किया है, कल ऑर्डर किया था, कुछ दिनों में आ जाएगा. I'll read it first. If I find it interesting, I'll read the next 2 books. If I don't find it interesting, I'll just get to Ship of Magic. Simple guy says, have you read Nexus by Yuval Harari? No, I haven't. Sapien के बाद उनका कुछ पढ़ा नहीं मैंने. और अभी तो नॉन फिक्शन के मूड में भी नहीं हूँ. I'm just focusing on fiction. Golu says, watch Attack on Titan and debunk it, please. Long John Silver says, hi Vimoh, please debunk Modi ji. Saransh says, nothing to debunk in Attack on Titan, mate. Apparently there are some fascist themes in there. I've heard about it. I've not seen it. Sumana says, how do you separate technology with tech creators? I love Tesla as a car. It's advanced technological and electric, but at the same time, I hate Elon Musk. Life is complicated. Elon Musk is only the CEO of the company. The actual technology was probably designed by someone else, right? Because he has made plenty of design faux pas also. The Cybertruck was a disaster. कार को कार को लिटरली जंग लग रही थी. मतलब it was rusting. Imagine a car that rusts. So They've done some stuff. Or now when you buy the truck, you can also order a special coat of something on top of it, for which you have to pay extra. It's basically the iPhone economy, or kya? You pay for additives also in addition to the thing that you're paying for. Simple guy says, in war, is morality applicable? Respective country soldiers think that they are morally right to fight for their land. How to think in these circumstances? Actually, military ethics is a very detailed subject. They teach you philosophy, they teach you ways to come to terms with loss and suffering. And the only reason I know this is because I sometimes write stories which have wars in them. So I have done a little research on this, but I'm not an expert. Obviously, you should talk to someone who knows more about this to learn about this. But I think that there are different systems of ethics with respect to armed conflict. In one scenario, it might be only we are right, everyone else is wrong. There is nothing wrong with killing them. In another one is that we are fighting to save our motherland and our fellow countrymen, and that soldier is doing the same. So I will treat him with respect. We have some armies which have protocols for not desecrating the bodies of the dead enemy, and they give them proper cremation or burial, and we have others which don't do that. So it's not the same across the board. Of course, in many cases, there are armies which have these highfalutin rules also, and they don't follow them. Like the rules are PR basically. Like your manual will say, no, no, we don't attack unarmed people, but then video footage leaks which shows you killing unarmed people. Israel, for example, right now is not an ethical uh, war machine at all. It's disgusting. Golu says, Vimo, what is your opinion on willpower? I recently had an argument with a friend about importance of mental health, and they said mental health is all hoax. Willpower get things done. अरे ये थोड़ा वो सख्त लौंडा है जो बहुत सारे रील्स देख चुका है. And this person is going to ruin his own mental health and the mental health of people around him also. ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता. Willpower get things done is true to a certain extent, but willpower is not magic. And your willpower also depends on your circumstances. A person who has never suffered in life or has lived a reasonably sheltered existence will not be suffering as much as someone else who has come from a literal war zone. So your friend saying कि willpower से सब कुछ हो जाता है, that advice will not apply to someone who has lost their parents to bombing, right? No matter how much willpower you exercise, you cannot get over the loss of a loved one. I know this. No matter how much willpower you exercise, you are not going to be able to do everything. So willpower is good, बट उसके सामने जब कोई अगरबत्ती जलाने लगे ना, तो उसको झापड़ मार के वापस रियलिटी पे लेके आ. गोलू, उसको झापड़ मत मारना, मैं ऐसे ही बोल रहा था. Golu says, Saransh, the only way to make Vimoh watch Attack on Titan at this point. To ask me to debunk it. Attack on Titan ko debunk karo. Imagine if this was the way to get me to do anything. Imagine if someone wanted me to, hey, make me tea, make me a cup of tea. No. Okay, debunk tea. Now you're talking. Juanju says your humming sound reminds me of Doordarshan news music. The music between their headlines, I think. Dhinkutukuttu. SRR says plastic ki bottle is back. Yes, glass लाने का time नहीं हुआ. Sorry, I'll bring the glass back next time. ना glass की bottle नहीं, plastic ही है. Somana says, I fought with an NRI creator who was saying luck is all BS. Luck is all BS. Hard work is what really matters. I asked if she would say the same thing to kids in Gaza. Yeah. Or even to like herself. Like when people say this, they're usually closing their eyes to their own luck, right? Like there's this long standing debate in literary circles. Uh, is genius by birth, or can one become a genius through hard work? Anime is a place where this gets discussed a lot. In Naruto, there are entire long conversations about this, where Naruto is like, नहीं तुम हार्ड वर्क से कुछ भी कर सकते हो, एंड नेजी इज लाइक नहीं नहीं बर्थ से जो मिला है वही है, उससे ज़्यादा कोई कुछ नहीं कर सकता. And it's a debate, right? In literary circles, there are two types of people. Some will say it's by birth, and some will say it's hard work. People say hard work because they want to get credit for what they have. They want to feel like what they have anyone can have, but only they have because they worked harder than others. It makes them feel superior. And the people who say it is by birth are people who uh, either want to feel like they're superior by birth, and that no matter how much someone races against them, they're not going to win because they have a by birth advantage. uh, I think that the truth is somewhere in the middle, and you already know my views about privilege and luck. I think hard work does matter, बट जब हार्ड वर्क के सामने हमारा हार्ड वर्क डज़ मैटर, बट हमारे कल्चर का प्रॉब्लम ये है कि हम लोग हार्ड वर्क के सामने अगरबत्तियाँ जलाने लगते हैं, जैसे वो ये गोलू का दोस्त थोड़ी देर पहले कर रहा था, और इट इज़ नॉट हेल्पफुल. It only serves to hide the fact that a lot of people, despite doing hard work, will not get what you have. What you have is a result of your privilege and luck, to the most part, for the most part. And hard work has played a small part, for a small role in there. Hmm, 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 hmm. Jumanji movie like fiction books. Can you suggest? You can just read the Jumanji books. There are books like, right. Nitin says, which modern philosophers are worth reading? Nitin, I am not aware of any. I'm personally. उनका नाम क्या है? Hold on. Hmm, Alex Malpass. Alex Malpass is an atheist philosopher who's doing good work. I'm not sure if they have written any books, but they have a website where they have written a lot of articles. You can read that. Golu says, exactly. This was my exact argument. Willpower at certain points is a thing of privilege. Denying external factors of someone is absolutely wrong, I guess. Yes, you are right, Golu. Dr. Pretty says, people who say mental health is a hoax have no idea about neurobiology of the brain. It is like asking someone to run who has a fractured leg with strong willpower. Yeah. No, this is the Sakht Londa culture. If you go to my Instagram, like I think, so हुआ ये था जब मैंने Instagram छोड़ा था ना, I said कि मैं Instagram छोड़ रहा हूँ, but I had forgotten कि I had scheduled a few reels in advance. So even after I left, some reels kept coming, and one of those reels is about Sakht Londa culture, where I saw a reel about someone, like I think it was a video that someone had made in response to a reel where someone was saying, "ये mental health कुछ नहीं होता, ये depression कुछ नहीं होता, सब मतलब विल पावर से हो जाएगा." तो मैं बोला ये सख्त कल्चर है. हम लड़कों को बचपन से ये बताया जाता है कि द वे टू एक्सप्रेस लव टुवर्ड्स समवन इज टू बी अग्रेसिव, द वे टू प्रोटेक्ट समवन इज टू बी अग्रेसिव, द वे टू मेक समवन फील बेटर इज टू बी अग्रेसिव. वी आर नॉट टू वी आर our entire vocabulary, our emotional vocabulary is made out of aggression. So it is not surprising that when someone tries to have a conversation, when someone is civil, when someone is being polite, we start thinking it's weakness. So I think that's a huge part of it. This Sakhtalonda culture is it's making us insensitive to the needs of people around us, and even sometimes to our own needs. आज का अर्ली तो एक वीडियो रेकमेंड किया था यूट्यूब ने, व्हाई मेन ओवरवेलमिंगली डोंट रीड फिक्शन. Fiction requires a different kind of engagement with your subject matter, right? It's a way to put yourself in someone else's shoes. Non-fiction does not require that. Non-fiction is basically a classroom. I mean, the best non-fiction almost approaches fiction in terms of sophistication. But non-fiction is basically someone telling you stuff and you're, absorbing information and perspectives. But fiction does this in a very, very, very intimate way. It literally takes you and puts you in someone else's shoes, someone who you are not, and someone who you cannot ever hope to be. You can put yourself in fantasy, you can put yourself in the shoes of a dragon and see what the universe looks like from a cosmic perspective. You can put yourself in the shoes of a very poor fisherman's son. You will never have that experience in life, but a good writer can give you that experience through fiction. But perhaps because men are being told that feelings are not important, we don't think that that is an important part of life. Sumana says it's 90% luck. Yeah, it's 90% luck and some, work. Golu says Neji, I think, was such an underrated character, strongest in the Hyuga clan, yet which family he was born into limited him so much. Yeah. And Naruto told him that it doesn't need to limit you. Saurabh says hard work with privilege is the key to success. Hard work is the key to success with privilege. I mean, privilege is the key to success. Sometimes, even like, listen, if there are two things like hard work and privilege, which one is essential for success? Essential. Like, उसके बिना तुम successful हो ही नहीं सकते. It's privilege. You can work very, very, very hard and still be unsuccessful. But if you're privileged, you're automatically successful by birth at some things, including things like, being rich. Saransh Kulkarni says, I don't get people who say mental health is a hoax. Body में सब कुछ बिगड़ सकता है, but for some reason they can't believe that something can go wrong or overworked in the brain. Yeah, which is why it is, I think we should want more people to embrace materialism. Because once you embrace materialism, you start to see your body as material, right? But for some reason, we have gotten to this point where the body is material, but the mind is something else. And therefore, it is not subject to the same pressures as the body. Simple Guy says, can we create another Einstein by hard work? We need to find some genetics and living circumstances, but who wants another Einstein? We want another you. I mean, I don't know what you mean by you. I hope you don't mean me. But as I said, it's a mix of circumstances. But imagine something. If Einstein had been born in a poor family in rural India, Uttar Pradesh, mein, who was also in the minority religion, like imagine the world's greatest genius being born in a poor Dalit family right now, will the world ever recognize them as a genius? Will they ever even get a chance to show the world that they're a genius? So Einstein had the benefit of being smart, yes, but he also had the benefit of living in a country where he had the opportunity to explore his potentials and to be constantly exposed to opportunities that allowed him to do the things that he needed to do. Sumana says being in the right place at the right time also matters in addition to privilege. Privilege will definitely provide more such opportunities, yes. And sometimes privilege is that thing. Being in the right place at the right time is a privilege also sometimes. Like think of all the poor actors as in poor at acting, who were born into actor families and still managed to become movie stars. Sumana says, I love Luck by Chance movie. They showed the concept of luck so well. I haven't seen it. Simple Guy says, the history of philosophical and formal logic from Aristotle to Tarski by Alex Malpass and Mariana Antonucci Marfori. Okay. Sumana says, wow, never realized men don't read fiction because it makes them vulnerable. I mean, I don't know if they don't read fiction because it makes them vulnerable or because they're vulnerable because they don't read fiction. I think if more men embraced fiction in the way that women do, we would see a cultural shift even, at least among the literate people. Juanju says, do you think some humans are more empathetic by birth as compared to others, or is it what you experience while growing up? Juanju, I have made a video about this. There's an entire podcast episode about this on Vimoh IRL, and I think there is one on this channel also. There is a video on my main channel also. Please watch it. I think everyone has empathy, but the problem is not lack of empathy. The problem is the direction in which empathy is directed. So nationalism is a result of misdirected empathy. Religious loyalties are a result of misdirected empathies. Compared to other humans, not other species. Got it, got it. Watch the videos. Long John Silver says, sir, as per statistics, the smartest and dumbest person on earth is in Africa, as Africa has most genetic diversity. Still, that smart person might never be successful due to lack of privilege. Exactly. I don't know if the statistics thing that you pointed out is true, but if it is, yes, it tracks. Jay says social media mental health content has pathologized human condition. Sometimes our condition has to do with our surroundings and systemic issues. Yes. Most of the time it does. Most of the time our situation has to do with the systems that we live in and the people and circumstances that we are surrounded by. So we are at the 50-minute mark almost. कुछ और कमेंट पढ़ लेते हैं. 1 घंटे से पहले शायद आज स्ट्रीम खत्म हो जाएगा. Everyone who's watching, if you have not liked the stream, please do. एक सेकंड रुको. हम्म, 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 हम्म. Golu says fiction makes you face your emotions. I have cried so many times reading manga, but the society doesn't allow men to show emotions, so it feels out of place. Yeah, that's true. But I think if you are a human being capable of crying at something that you have read in a fiction book, you're seeing some imaginary character going through trouble and you're able to empathize there, I think you are a very emotionally mature human being compared to someone who does not think of fiction as worthwhile. Because uh, look at the kind of look at the kind of occupations men go into and the kind of occupations women go into. Men overwhelmingly go into professions that have to do with utility, and therefore they think that the purpose of literature is also that manner of utility. Maybe it's a guess. SRR says I liked from beginning of stream. Okay, cool. हाँ अभी हो गए 19 लाइक हो गए हैं, 20 व्यूअर हैं. Saransh says, could getting success make you jaded towards similar struggles someone might face? It already makes you forget all the privileges you had, focusing only on your hard work. Yeah, that also happens. I mean, even among people who have gotten to success through hard work, you'll see this tendency to deify hard work. I mean, they have more reason than others, but still, they should not do that because, uh, like oh, I'm from a marginalized background. If I could do it, why can't they? Beta, maybe there were factors that worked out to your advantage, but did not work out to other people's advantage. So maybe you're richer than them. Maybe you are closer to opportunities. Maybe you got the right opportunities at the right time and you were smart enough to pick it up. Maybe that particular combination of factors has not presented itself to other people. Basically, I think every time we talk about success, we should talk about luck and we should talk about privilege so that the conversation does not remain limited to hard work. Right now, all our literature on success is about hard work. Nobody even thinks privilege needs to be part of it, and we need to talk about, basically make it a point whenever you see success का बारे में कोई बातचीत हो रहा है, privilege और luck को definitely mention करो. That's like, otherwise सिर्फ hard work के बारे में बंद कर रह जाएगा, and that's not the whole picture. Gogol says, speaking of manga, please check out Solo Leveling. Okay, गोलू के लिए recommendation. मैं नहीं पढ़ रहा हूँ यार आजकल manga. Nitin says, is philosophy useful in daily life? And if yes, then which? Listen, philosophy is unavoidable. Everyone has a philosophy. Even if it's not philosophy that you read in a book, you already have a life philosophy. If you are living life and you have any set of standards to live life, you already have a philosophy. My problem is that philosophy often gets defined in terms of what is written in philosophy books or what has been said by philosophers. And that is a very narrow way of looking at it. Anyone who tells you कि असली philosophy वो है जो प्लेटो और एरिस्टोटल ने कही थी, वो अपने पिछवाड़े से बात कर रहा है. उसको रियल लाइफ का आइडिया नहीं है. उसको ये भी नहीं पता कि प्लेटो और एरिस्टोटल के पहले भी philosophy थी. और any human being who is alive and living a life has a philosophy. So, philosophy is very wide spanning. And regardless of whether you think it is useful for your life or not, you already have one and you are living by it. Maybe it is a philosophy that your religion gave you. Maybe it's a philosophy that you came up with yourself. It's all philosophy. Gogol says it's a manhwa. Oh, I know what that means, but I'm forgetting. Jay says fiction helps us imagine a better future. It is hard to have hope and fight for a future you cannot envision. Some fiction does. Historical fiction maybe doesn't. And there is plenty of fiction that doesn't do that. But yeah, fiction has the power to do so. Simple Guy says Vimoh speaks with reason, a skeptic's guide through questions deep where beliefs divide. No gods or myths, just science's light. He charts the stars in endless night. It's almost like the Green Lantern oath. प्लीज मेरे बारे में कविताएं ये चैट जीपीटी लिखा ना. सच बोल, चैट जीपीटी से लिखवाना ये. Jay says successful people have survivor's bias. I did so. What's stopping you? Yeah, that happens. Sumana says they'll get pissed also if you call them privileged. Yeah. So, which is why it's important to do so. Not because it will piss them off, but because it will at least stop them in the tracks a little bit and hopefully make them think a little bit more. Golu says human psychology is really complex, and anyone who simplifies it to a few singular things, I call that BS. The entire picture is so different. Yeah. In fact, you can almost always guarantee that you are talking to someone with very little life experience. Like, मैंने एक this is the problem with religions also, isn't it? Reading is good, but what they do is that they read one book or a few books, and they say the सारा knowledge इसी में है बस. So this one book, one definition, one ideology, people, these are people who have not really left their homes and met people or lived life, and it shows. It shows in their conduct. I want to second Golu, says Saransh. Watch Attack on Titan and debunk, please, and don't read the manga first. Deep and John says it costs more than 20 lakh right now to do MBA. That makes MBA out of the reach of most Indians. Jay says philosophy cannot exist detached from politics. वो तो खैर अलग ही बात है. Like, obviously, nothing can remain detached from politics. I was talking philosophy in and of its own. Google says Indian entrance exams have been one of the biggest cause of people worshipping hard work in our culture. Hmm. Sarah says manhwa is Korean. Yes. Now I remember. Thank you. Arif says, I think I saw in one of your videos that you said that you would prefer a more empathetic person to an intelligent person. I think it is much needed. Yes, I would. Uh, if you look at the course of human history, you will find that tribes do not survive on account of being more intelligent. Intelligence is the criteria of an individual. It can be transferred around using media, but five idiots have a better chance of surviving in a forest than one smart person. Five relative idiots, not complete idiots. You know what I mean. Mansi says, I have a close one who's super empathetic in personal life but chooses to side with hateful propaganda of the right wing ideology at a group level. The cognitive dissonance baffles me. Mansi, maybe you can make them aware of it. If they are super empathetic in life, you can make them aware of examples of very cruel behavior from the people who you just talked about, so that उनके ज्ञान चक्षु खुल जाएं. गोलू says मैं बड़ा होके विमो के साथ पॉडकास्ट बनाऊंगा. गोलू तो बड़ा तो हो चुका है, वापस आजा, बनाते पॉडकास्ट. SRR says कितना बड़ा? ही ऑलरेडी सेड यू आर अडोरेबल एडल्ट नाउ. वो और भी बड़ा होगा. वो जब 8-10 किलोमीटर बड़ा हो जाएगा तब पॉडकास्ट करेगा. Okay. So we are close to the 1 hour mark. Thank you everyone. 21 people are watching and 21 likes are there. Thank you for doing that. I really appreciate it. आज का लाइव स्ट्रीम यहीं पे एंड करते हैं. ये लाइव स्ट्रीम मेंबर्स ओनली था, पर हो सकता है आप इसको बाद में देख रहे हैं. अगर आप इसको बाद में देख रहे हैं तो इस चैनल को सपोर्ट करने का एक अच्छा तरीका है, नीचे जो जॉइन बटन है उसको दबाना और इस चैनल का मेंबर बनना. मेंबर बनने पे आप इस प्रकार के मेंबर्स ओनली लाइव स्ट्रीम्स को देख पाएंगे. वेडनेसडे रात 8 बजे. सैटरडे वाला लाइव स्ट्रीम पब्लिक होता है, वहाँ पे आप वैसे भी आ सकते हैं, वो मेंबर्स ओनली नहीं है. पर अगर आप मेंबर बनते हैं तो आपको स्पेशल इमोजी मिलेंगे और एक बैज मिलेगा आपके नाम के बगल में, जो आपको सुपर चैट में दिखाने को मौका मिलेगा. इसके अलावा आप इस चैनल को पेट्रियन पे सपोर्ट कर सकते हैं, patreon.com/vimo, मंथली मेंबर बन के या एनुअल मेंबर बन के. और यू कैन जस्ट गो टू माय वेबसाइट एट www.vimo.in एंड यू कैन मेक अ वन टाइम कंट्रीब्यूशन बाय क्लिकिंग द सपोर्ट लिंक देयर. मैं अपने वेबसाइट पे पॉडकास्ट एपिसोड भी डालता हूँ, एसेज भी डालता हूँ, जो कि यूट्यूब पे नहीं दिखते हैं. बाय द वे, इट्स ओरिजिनल कंटेंट. सो इफ यू आर नॉट सब्सक्राइब टू माय वेबसाइट, यू कैन डू दैट आल्सो. गो टू www.vimo.in, vimoh.in, एंड सब्सक्राइब यूजिंग योर ईमेल एड्रेस. मैं पूरे हफ्ते कुछ ना कुछ लिख कर भेजते रहता हूँ और हफ्ते के अंत में एक पॉडकास्ट एपिसोड डालता हूँ. अगर आपको सब्सक्राइब नहीं करना है और सिर्फ पॉडकास्ट को सुनना है तो विमो IRL को सर्च कीजिए स्पॉटिफाई पर या एप्पल पॉडकास्ट पर या जहाँ भी आप पॉडकास्ट सुनते हैं, और फॉलो कर लीजिए. अगर हो सके तो एक 5 स्टार रेटिंग भी दे दीजिएगा पॉडकास्ट को, अगर आप सुन रहे हैं, क्योंकि उससे पॉडकास्ट को और ज़्यादा विजिबिलिटी मिलती है. थैंक यू फॉर वॉचिंग टुडे. जाने से पहले और कमेंट है क्या? थैंक यू फॉर द स्ट्रीम. थैंक यू guys for coming. Golu says one big problem with such people is they tend to argue and not listen. It's hard to get things through. Take care everyone. Arif says much needed, especially in the medical fraternity. Medicos doing super specialty DM MCH courses and running the rat race but still lacking empathy. अरे वो तो अलग ही टॉपिक है, उसके बारे में फिर कभी बात करेंगे. हमारे हायर एंड प्रोफेशनल इंडियंस और उनका लैक ऑफ एम्पैथी एंड लैक ऑफ कमिटमेंट टू सोशल कॉजेस और इवन कमिटमेंट टू सिविक सेंस इज अ डीपर प्रॉब्लम. उसके बारे में फिर कभी बात करेंगे. बट अगेन थैंक यू पीपल फॉर जॉइनिंग टुडे. बड़ा मजा आया. ये शर्ट मेरी नहीं है, मैंने गलती से पहन लिया. आई थिंक इट्स माई डैड शर्ट. सो I will not probably be wearing it ever again. And thank you. I will see you on Saturday for the public live stream. Until then, please take care of yourselves and good night.